Snow whipped across the fields outside Narva, a fortress city on the eastern edge of the Swedish Empire. It was November 30, 1700, and the Great Northern War had just begun. Surrounded by a massive Russian army nearly 4 times their size, the Swedish troops braced against the freezing wind and the impossible odds before them. At just 18 years old, King Charles XII of Sweden rode along the lines on a white horse. Young, untested, and underestimated, he carried himself with the calm of a seasoned general. His soldiers, cold, exhausted, and outnumbered, watched him closely. Across the field, the Russians believed victory was already assured. They had entrenched positions, heavy artillery, and sheer numbers on their side. Snow blew in thick sheets, blinding the battlefield. But Charles XII saw something else in that storm: opportunity. As the blizzard intensified, he gave a simple order: advance. The Swedish infantry surged forward in tight, disciplined formations, using the storm as their shield. The Russians, unable to see through the whiteout, fired blindly. By the time they realized the Swedes were upon them, it was too late. Charles XII led the charge himself, directing a daring assault that split the Russian line in two. Panic spread through the enemy ranks. Thousands fled. Others surrendered. What seemed unthinkable only hours before had become reality. The small Swedish army was carving through a force nearly 40,000 strong. By nightfall, the Battle of Narva was over. The Russians suffered catastrophic losses. Sweden, against every expectation, had won a victory so stunning that it echoed across Europe. For Charles XII, Narva was the moment that transformed him from a young king into a legendary commander. For Russia, the defeat was humiliating, but it would not remain so for long. The Great Northern War had opened with a Swedish triumph. But as history would show, Narva was only the beginning of a brutal struggle that would reshape the balance of power in Northern Europe.